Hello, we are the Stop Wearing My Clothes podcast. I'm Amy.
And I'm Kayla. One podcast, two sisters. Did we do it together?
Yes!
Oh, yay! Okay, great. This is episode 50. We're really excited. We aren't going to do anything too big. We're going to wait for 100 to I don't know exactly what we're going to do, but we're going to go hard with something. This is the Bachelor Week 3 recap. But before we go into the recap, we are going to talk about Harry Styles and Taylor Swift at the Grammys, Clayton and Rachel's TikTok that broke the internet, and the Bachelor villain who is coming out with a podcast.
Make sure to follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Stop Wearing My Clothes Pod, as well as rate and review on Apple Podcasts. And we are on all podcast streaming services. And if you can rate or give it a like, whatever you do it. Oh, YouTube, subscribe and like on YouTube.
Yes, and hit on that little bell for notifications so you can be the first one to know when we have our new videos. And I did this week live tweet. I'm new. I'm doing the best I can. But if you're a Twitter person, it's at Stop Wearing My, because our name is too long. Let's get into the episode. Hello. How are you, you son of a gun?
Oh, I'm wonderful. How are you?
Good. What's new? What's new in your life? Tell me.
What's new in my life? All right. I have a funny story about Jack I could share with you.
Tell me.
Okay, so this morning, actually, let's preface it with this. If you drink pop, you have to have a side, Pepsi or Coke, right? Like, that's pretty common knowledge. Well,
Yes.
Basically, if it's not Coke, you're wrong. So anytime I go anywhere, I get a Coke with extra ice. So today, Jared and Jack, my 2.5-year-olds, were outside and they were playing kind of pretend food. And so Jack was like, I want French fries. I want a burger. And Jared was like, well, what do you want to drink? He was like, Coke, extra ice.
You taught him well.
It made me laugh so hard.
It's funny you say pop too, because we're from Washington State, right? I felt like that, and also I feel like, and then our family is kind of plucked from the Midwest a little bit, like Michigan area, so we call a Coke pop. Well, apparently I moved to LA and they do not call it here. They call it soda. So I actually went to a movie theater and asked for a pop. They handed me popcorn. And I was like, I hate movie theater popcorn. I might be the only person on the entire planet. I only like the stuff you make at home. And she would not give me a refund. She's like, you said pop and we're giving you pop. It was a whole thing. And so now I specifically say soda, but it's a weird thing you don't even think of. And when you move, just do it. We're 2 states over, right?
Yeah.
And so that's my story.
That's funny. No, that's really funny. So what are you watching lately? Gotten anything good?
I just binged. Well, there's only 3 episodes out, but have you heard of The Last of Us on HBO? I've saw it everywhere, so I was like, okay, I have to watch it. Everyone's freaking out. So it's basically, I'm not a video game person, neither are you, but so that shouldn't deter you. It is based off of a video game story, but it has I think his name's Pedro Pascal. He was for Marcus, he's the Mandalorian, even though he wears a mask the whole time, so you can't tell. The fact that they had to, it's someone who's famous, but he wears a mask the whole time, so you could literally get a Joe Schmo, and that's about the Mandalorian. Back to The Last of Us, and it is also has the girl from, she was in Game of Thrones, she was in Birdie, whatever. It's so good, and I just finished the 3rd episode. And you know how some seasons or TV shows have a standalone episode that tells almost an individual story? It kind of scores. Nick Offerman, Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec. I was destroyed afterwards. I was bawling, but in the best way. I think he's going to win an Emmy. 100%.
Wow. Okay, now I have to watch this.
It's incredible. Everyone who's watching should be watching The Last of Us. I haven't watched this Sunday. As we're recording this, I'll probably watch it tonight, so I'll have it for tomorrow's. It's every Sunday on HBO Max, and I haven't watched last night's yet, but so 4 episodes are out now, but I highly recommend.
Okay, I think I might be starting that during nap time.
Do it. It's because it's kind of like a zombie apocalypse, but then all of a sudden this 3rd season, the 3rd episode comes, and you're like, there's a bunch of reactions. I saw Nick Offerman on Jimmy Kimmel, and
Mhm.
they had him watch a bunch of TikToks of people reacting, and they were crying. It's like, I just wanted a fun show about zombies. So it's really good. So highly recommend. What are you
Okay.
watching?
So I just finished the Pamela Anderson documentary. Have you seen that one yet?
Oh, I really want to. It's at the top of my list.
It's incredible. It's so good, so real,
Love her.
eye-opening, and it really leads me into, so we have our segment where we say something that makes us happy, something that makes us annoyed each week.
Mhm.
And the Pamela Anderson documentary made me annoyed, but maybe not in the way that you think when I say that, because it has nothing to do with her and everything to do with everybody else.
Mm.
So she really, really raw and like tells her story the way it is. And the fact that she went through so much trauma during when the whole tape came out, and then when the Hulu show came out, they did not have her permission whatsoever. They did not, she was not a part of it. She probably would have said no, don't make it. And so when she found out that was coming out, it like made her have to relive that trauma all over again. And I just think, like, I understand Hollywood, like you gotta do what you gotta do, but and it was a well-made show from my perspective, because I really did like Pam and Tommy on Hulu, but it made me look at it in an icky way, and now I don't like it, and I'm just sad.
Yeah, it's actually funny you say that because I've had the Pam and Tommy on my list for a long time, and I just haven't done it because actually one of my friend plays the lead guy in the band. Like, so my friend Bethany, her friend plays that or whatever. So I was like, oh, well, I feel famous even though I'm really so far removed, but I got to take what I can get. Um, but now I'm like, okay, so this new Pamela documentary. I know after I watch the documentary, I won't be able to watch Pam and Tommy. So I was
I
like,
know
do I
you might
watch?
want to watch it first.
I know, but then I feel bad because you're right. I don't support it, but I also am in love with Lily James, who
And
transforms into Pamela.
she does a beautiful job. That's why I was just so disappointed, because once Pamela Anderson really was talking about it, there's even parts of number one, the story's actually not accurate from Hulu. Now that I like hear the whole thing, it's not
Mhm.
completely accurate. And what really upset her too, was the fact that in this isn't going to give anything away. In the show, they display Tommy as like kind of being an asshole, and that's kind of why the tape got stolen. And she was just like, that really upset her too, and her sons.
Yeah,
So
I've only heard good things.
yeah, and her son actually was a part of creating the show. So it was actually really special. It was like her sons and her watching home videos back, and it was just really cool.
Yeah, I
Worth a
really
watch.
have to watch it.
But if you have a big giant TV and you have windows near the front of your house, definitely close them, because your whole entire screen is a naked woman multiple times.
Ooh, fun.
And so I was laughing so hard because my neighbors are like right out there, and the whole front thing is open, and our TV's huge. I'm like, if anybody looks in the window right now, it's like a huge naked lady.
I think you're probably having a better time than you actually are. Yeah, I actually watched when they did the Hills reboot, that reality show I love.
Yeah.
He was on it, her Pamela's son. And I actually
Oh.
really liked him. I didn't watch all of it. I think it's already canceled. It was crap. But
Yeah.
so I kind of had some knowledge of him. But yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So that was your annoyed. What's your
Yes.
happy?
Well, my happy was my story about Jack and the Coke. So now I'm like,
That works. All right. So we already heard your happy. So did you watch the Grammys?
No, but I watched through you.
I know. I covered the Grammys on our page, our socials at Stop Wearing My Clothes Pod, as well as I'm an entertainment news reporter for Shared News. So I covered it all. I actually got paid to watch the Grammys. That's my flex. But anyways, my happy was watching Harry Styles and Taylor Swift the whole night. So I'm sure you guys know they used to date. She even wrote a song, I think Out of the Woods. Yeah. Are we out of the woods yet? Are we out of the woods? So that one.
Mhm.
And Harry Styles basically won the night. He won Best Pop Album and the award Best Album of the Year. And even when no one else was giving him a standing ovation, I actually watched videos. Like when you're watching on TV, they can, to a certain extent, edit the sound and everything. But I saw a video of people heckling him that Beyonce didn't win and yelling like Beyonce. And Taylor Swift was one of the only people doing a standing ovation for him. And you could tell it was like a friendly, guys, I have goosebumps because think about this. Kanye West, she had this moment of album of the year. Kanye West went up and said Beyonce should have won. Harry Styles is having the same experience, and Taylor's there. I have all over my body. Taylor is there supporting him. And it's just like so cool. I'm so glad that these exes can be friendly. And then also like she was seen dancing his whole performance and seen chit-chatting in the commercial breaks. If I could be a fly on that wall. So it just really made me happy seeing them together, being friends, supporting each other's successes. And I really enjoyed that.
I have a quick question that you might be able to answer. So when you say people are heckling, like yelling Beyonce, is that like other famous people doing that?
No. So there's also like audience.
A studio audience. Okay. Yeah. Well, not studio audience, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And then my annoyed also has to do with the Grammys because if I don't even know. Do you know how much I love the 10-minute version of All Too Well, Taylor's version?
100% I do.
Okay, because Mark probably knows it better than anybody, especially when I get a little lit and I turn it up to 11 and I just sing it from deep within my soul. Like I just feel, and like the short film she did with it, and so it just deserves all the awards. And so she did win Best Video, but when it was one of those like so they only do like the main awards on the actual Grammys you watch, and then there's like a one before the day of like kind of throwaway awards, honestly, but that was one of the throwaway awards. But I'm glad she got that. She did not win Song of the Year, which is like all about songwriting. And you think, okay, she didn't. Well, first of all, I was like really pissed because that was going to be her 13th Grammy win. And if you know anything about Taylor Swift, 13 is her number. So I think we just missed a huge thing because if she won her 13th Grammy and got to go up and do a speech, we were going to get something. We were going to get an announcement. I feel it deep within my bones. So okay, then Harry Styles won, Lizzo, Adele, Beyonce. No. Some old lady I don't even know. Like, respect to her.
One song of the year?
Yeah. I thought it was going to be like a Moonlight situation from the Oscars forever ago. Remember when they accidentally said the wrong name? Because you could tell the reaction was visibly confused. But when she got up there and she was like crying, because I think she felt the same way as us.
Almost felt bad that she won.
Yeah, which is like, and also think of like her in like this time of her life, like who knows how many more Grammys she's gonna have. Sorry, but so I am.
So do you think it was a pity Grammy then? It's like she's old, she needs one.
I don't think they work like that. No, I was just so looking forward to it. So she was robbed, and I'm annoyed.
But Taylor Swift was gorgeous that night. That blue dress.
Amazing. And she wore a blue sparkly dress when she went to the Grammys for Speak Now. Everyone is just waiting. Her grid is aligned. If you know anything about Taylor Swift and her Easter eggs theories, something is happening. And I really thought it was going to be last night. She's going to...
Probably was supposed to be.
Yeah, it could have been. Yeah, so we'll see about that. But yeah, she looked absolutely incredible. But reality TV, that's why you're all here, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, there wasn't a whole lot. This next 2 weeks is when a bunch of premieres are happening. So it's kind of like the lull before the storm. But we got some really good news about our favorite show, Amy. You want to take this?
Traitors got renewed for season 2.
I am so excited. I'm not surprised because I've seen so many influencers and articles. It was one of the biggest shows Peacock has ever had. And also a even more exciting thing maybe, we are getting a season 1 reunion special hosted by Andy Cohen. So all of our favorites from season 1 are coming back, and Andy Cohen knows how to get the tea, and it comes out February 28th on Peacock.
Ooh, you want to know what else makes me excited about that? Oh, Kayla's birthday is when it comes out.
I can't believe you're about to go past that. Yes. So, and because when your birthday is on a weekday, what are you going to do, right? So I'm actually really excited. I'm going to make a thing about it. I'm going to make a dip. I'm going to watch the Traitors reunion on my 30th birthday. So I'm very excited.
And you're going to see Kate pregnant.
Yes, I know she's pretty pregnant by now, right? So I'm
I
excited
think. Mhm.
for sure. So that's kind of all we have for reality TV news, but we have lots of Bachelor stuff to dive into this week.
Astrid and Kevin are having their second baby, and she just announced that, and that's really exciting. They're only 4 weeks along, which is pretty early to announce, but because they've had some like conceiving struggles and they've done IVF and stuff, they're super open about it. So we're sending all of our happy vibes into her little belly.
Yes, I totally agree. And kind of, I don't like to talk about sad stuff because we're like fun, happy podcast. But speaking of babies, unfortunately, Sarah Heron has lost her baby. I'm just like so sad. She's been so open and following. She's been so excited for this baby. I believe also IVF. They like had some struggles getting pregnant. And so it's like so sad.
No, I am literally torn up. I don't even want to talk about it because it's so sad, and I'm just praying for her family, and I'm just
I know. And the
like,
fact that
I can't.
she's still also like showing us her life and doing like posts like even if you lose your baby, your body still had a baby. And she's
Mhm.
like posting pictures of postpartum and like without a baby. It's just it's heartbreaking and she
Mhm.
does not no one deserves it. So we're just sending them so much love and healing and all that good stuff. On a
Yeah.
happier note, we had a few Bachelor alums break the internet this week. And it was honestly it's probably my favorite thing that's happened in Bachelor Nation since the Victoria and Greg switch up.
Okay, so Rachel and Clayton. So I want to preface this with I forgot that they were on the same season together. I'm an idiot. I was like, oh, that's a cool couple to see together. Two Bachelor people. I was like, Rachel and Gabby. Now Rachel's hanging out with Clayton, and I just completely forgot about that. So that's a problem. But anyways, so they did a whole bunch of TikToks they were with Michelle, and then they were with Blake and
Yanina.
Janina. Yeah,
And is that it?
that's all. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so they were kind of playing like, oh, I think they were just having fun with us, but totally kind of giving couple vibes a little bit.
Yeah. So everyone's freaking out. Is Clayton and Rachel back together? The answer is no. They were both invited to a golf event in LA and kind of were in the same group and hung out. And I think they just kind of had some fun with it. But we did get a response from Susie walking on the side of the street with the sun, not shade. Classy queen. Classy queen. And then we got Rachel a few days afterwards, after we literally, Bachelor Nation just like literally exploded. We were freaking the fuck out. And so she just says, you guys have me dead, and it's all in good fun. Healing and forgiveness is a lesson I had trouble learning for a long time. I promise I'm not leaving this era quite yet. So basically, say she's single. They were just having fun with it, and she's forgiven Clayton. So I love that for them.
So what are you shipping though? Clacy or Raitlin? What would their name be?
Racklin, Claychel.
Claychel. Okay, so Claychel or Clacy?
Clacy. Because I think it's all in good fun, but like Susie and Clayton actually had a real relationship. But I loved it. And if it was a thing, I would fully support it at the same time. Because I just love men.
No, for sure.
But then like so much happened with the Clayton, Susie, Rachel, just world of Bachelor. Clayton this weekend was seen with sports reporter Sarah Cardona at like some type of sports game or whatever. So he was on a date with someone not from Bachelor Nation.
Ooh.
And he was called out in the Jumbotron and did a full dance on the Jumbotron. I have to show you the video. It's great. I highly recommend. It's actually a video from Bachelor Rabbit Hole, and Clayton himself reposted it. So
that's awesome.
He's living his best life, and I'm so happy for him just because I know he's really struggled with his mental health, and he really was put through the ringer on Bachelor, and so happy for him. That actually reminds me, I forgot to put it in our little planner, but another thing that happened, because speaking of kind of Clayton having a hard time, Nate Mitchell from Gabby and Rachel's season was assaulted by a fan, and basically just because of reality Steve's reporting and like kind of his storyline and what happened afterwards. And so that is just truly awful. Everyone's like really just giving him the best support we can, but also just being very clear that we do not support. No, this is all in good fun. It's a TV show. These are real people. Like, even if we get
That's
mad
insane.
or annoyed with someone, it never ever assault anyone, and don't assault people in Bachelor. Like, what the hell? Like, you should know this. So, just making that very clear, Bachelor fans who are watching this,
stop. No.
yes. All right, moving on. We're going to keep going with Bachelor news. If you're watching on YouTube, you can tell we look a little different, but we need to go listen to the Chris Harrison podcast with Caitlin Bristow. Plus, some other few things happened in the last 24 hours or 12 hours. I don't know, however long it's been, that we wanted to make sure we got to you first. So, this one we just forgot. Claire got married.
Yeah, how random. For some reason, that's random to me. I feel like that was so quick.
Yeah, I think they like kept their relationship a secret for a while, so it makes it seem shorter than before. But did you also see how her wedding dress got stolen?
No.
A few days before her wedding dress, she was in Hawaii on vacation, and someone stole her wedding dress out of her car.
What the heck did she do?
She got a new one, and it ended up being everything happens for a reason. It ended up being her dream dress that she posted on Pinterest years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it worked out.
Yeah, and I'm so happy for her. She has been through the ringer. She's had so many relationships on Bachelor and just really had some hard times. So I'm just glad, and I hope she's happy and it lasts and everything.
Same. Another one. Oh, this is actually, we skipped for reality TV news. We thought we didn't have anything, but we did. Heather Almusa, Selling Sunset star, had her baby. But I'm excited, and we'll see kind of that whole journey. The Selling Sunset season 6 is coming out in a few months, I feel like, like this year at least. So we'll see her pregnancy, and I think they already wrapped before she had the baby, but we might see it on her and Tarek's home renovation reality show. So excited about that. Then Jill has a new man. Jill from Bachelor in Paradise. Didn't work out with Tarzan, aka Jacob, but she just did a hard launch on Instagram this weekend. And he's very like hipster looking. We'll put a picture up. He's got like a mustache and like looks like he goes thrifting a lot. Like he looks like a cool dude. I like it for her.
Yeah.
Okay. Good response.
That's all I got to say about him. I know what he looks like, but that's about all.
I don't know much information. He's not in Bachelor Nation, but I love it for her because she was actually one of my favorites for Bachelor in Paradise. She made the show. And she's a fellow cat lady. And then this is just hot off the press. An hour ago, Victoria Fuller posted she is doing a podcast, and it's called Uncensored Saints, and it's going to be like a kind of just like a everything podcast. And then her first episode comes out February 14th on Valentine's Day, and she's teasing a guest, won't tell us.
Greg.
But for Valentine's Day, it has to be Greg, right?
It has to be Greg.
The only other one I was looking in the comments is, what if it was Peter? If she like really wanted to make some waves. Peter Weber, she was on his season.
Oh, why though? Why would that even be a thing?
To make headlines. People would die over it. I know I would.
That's true. That's true.
They ended really bad. I'm sure that I think I've actually seen, like, I'm sure they're fine now. It's like old news. But still, Bachelor fans, they're going to love it. They're going to eat that shit up. So I'm excited. I will be watching at least the first episode, see how it is. I'm a big Victoria Fuller fan. I know not everyone is. But I will be recapping the first episode, whether you like it or not.
All right, I guess I gotta listen to it too then.
Yes, you do. All right, did you end up listening to the Caitlin Bristow on Chris Harrison's podcast?
Yes, I did.
Tell me your thoughts.
Well, my first thought, and this is not, I love Caitlin. She has a lisp, but is it just Invisalign or something? I noticed a major lisp. Really?
See, I did not notice it. Okay. I guess we should probably go back actually, because we haven't reported on. Okay. Caitlin Bristow went on the not Call Her Daddy. I just watched a Call Her Daddy teaser. Not Skinny, but Not Fat podcast. And essentially Chris Harrison ghosted her. And so what did Chris Harrison do? Bloop. Caitlin is on my podcast. Boom. All right. And so other than the lisp, what did you think?
I think it was a really smart thing for them to do so that they could just, in real time. I did feel like Chris invalidated her feelings a little bit, in my opinion. I felt like he basically was like, I'm always had to be there for you, and I couldn't, and I only responded to people who were trying to be there for me, and I just couldn't like, that's not why our relationship has been one-sided. I mean, he said it all in a kind way-ish, but to me it was a little condescending.
I know,
I didn't love it.
And it's interesting because he says, I'm not trying to be condescending. He specifically says that. And I think it is just because they've had almost just like a very like father-daughter type relationship, like him
Mm-hmm.
always knowing the best. I go back and forth with Chris Harrison all the time. And
Yeah.
I did feel there were certain points I was just like, okay, all right. Like, I don't know.
But then, I mean, his feelings are valid too, because it is true. He was going through a lot. He didn't have the emotional capacity to be there for someone else, and that's what she needed in that moment. She needed reassurance. She needed that, and she admitted to being dramatic and like making it about her when it wasn't about her. All that made sense. They are both valid, but I just didn't love necessarily some of the remarks that Chris Harrison made.
I agree.
He uses the word like awkward a lot too, saying that it was awkward, but then at the same time was like, well, you should have called me when you were in negotiations. It's like, well, that would have been more awkward,
That would have
dude.
been a lot more awkward. Yeah. What did you think, like, on his take of like their mentorship role and how he was not upset? He said he was not upset about them taking over his job or whatever. He was upset for Caitlyn and Tayshia because he thought that the show was setting them up for failure.
I thought that was interesting. I don't know. I actually don't know how I feel. How did you think they did? You really liked them.
I personally liked them. It was fun, like, especially with Chris Harrison gone, it was just kind of like the Wild Wild West and Bachelor Nation for a second. And so I liked that comforting feeling of every week going and seeing two faces that I recognize and I love. Those are two of my favorite bachelorettes. And so I really liked it. And I liked that it was kind of like giggly and stuff. I know Caitlyn specifically said it did seem a little unprofessional with two of them just because that's like what that dynamic was. And she thought she was it was like leading to something. And I know I actually just talked on Share News today about how was the Bachelor franchise taking advantage of them when it came to pay, when it came to maybe leading them on, making them think it was going to lead to something. And I think that's kind of an interesting take.
Yeah, that and the fact that they called it mentorship. So I think that they thought that they were going to be going into it as kind of almost like what Sean Lowe is doing but just maybe more hands-on, more like maybe in every episode or whatever. But they probably used that word so that they had to pay them less because they're not.
Exactly.
So that's kind of screwed up.
Yeah, and Caitlyn said like her first day on set, she just like was reading a teleprompter and she was like, oh, so I'm hosting. Like, she realized that like on her first day on set. So yeah. Really interesting interview, really short. It duped me. The first so it's part 1 and part 2, but she's only like the last 15 minutes of part 1 and you have to like go through all of their crap for like 45 minutes. But yeah, that happened.
She talked about her and Jason being very happy. They just are not really in the wedding planning mode right now. They try to sit down and like plan, and then they see Yahtzee and they want to drink a bottle of wine and play Yahtzee instead. So
who doesn't?
So I say like let's leave them alone and just like they're happy and yeehaw for them.
Yep, I have to agree with you. All right, so now let's really get into the Bachelor recap. We're not joking this time.
Okay, so let's get into the recap this week. So actually, in the first episode, we never even talked about the fact that Sean Lowe came in and gave some advice. And so he was back today, or back this week, on a FaceTime call with Zach, giving some advice. And I have to say, Ari has made some
Sorry, I fell asleep because that Sean Lowe part was so boring and I don't give a fuck.
Sorry, no, Ari has made a bunch of comments like, oh, I should have been the one giving advice. And why the heck is he not? I'm sorry. I'm such an Ari
Yeah.
fan right now. Is The Bachelor just
Me
against
too.
him?
Yeah. I
Just
think so.
because Becca's like the queen angel, no one wants to hurt her.
Exactly.
Okay, sorry. I disagree. I like Becca a lot, but I don't think that discounts him at all. And
Yeah,
anyways,
agreed.
moving on because we don't care about that.
Yep.
So the first one-on-one date went to Katie. And what did you think about it?
So first thought is she reminds me of Rachel. In I think even her looks and like the way she like smiles and almost like her demeanor, like I don't know, she reminds me of Rachel. So I mean, Zach probably likes that. And also, sorry, I'm playing with my lipstick. I'm twirling it. Also, okay, so they went to the night at the museum. Really cool day, by the way. And like I said, it gave me like serious Rachel and Ross vibes when like they did it the first time at the museum. Let's see. They really kind of go into some deep stuff. She was in a toxic relationship for 7 years and really it took a hit on her self-worth. And honestly, how she even carries herself, you could sense that,
Mm-hmm.
don't you think? Am I
Yeah.
just like maybe, yeah. And
No,
so
I see that.
and I think one of her quotes that people are talking about is just like, I'm not asking for much. Like, I just want the basics, you know? And it was actually kind of sad. And Zach's like, you deserve more than just the basics. What
Zach
did you
is
think?
getting another check. I feel like we maybe haven't had a bachelor that is so good at communicating and validating in a way that is not leading them on, because obviously he has other relationships, but it's just like making them realize like I'm worth it. Like whether I'm with Zach or not, like I'm worth it.
Yeah, whether she ends up with Katie or he ends up with Katie or not, I think Katie will grow and become a better person because Zach was in her life. Honestly, like I'm obsessed with him. I'll go more into it. I'm really, really surprised. I know. I'm trying to think. Okay, and then it was overnight. What did you think about them doing an overnight this early on in the season?
What did I think about it? I think it was fine, but at the same time, it's just like, oh, you guys are putting these other chicks through the ringer. That would be hard. Like already, like someone getting a one-on-one date in the first couple weeks, it really like puts a lot of pressure on the other girls and makes them feel more insecure in their feelings. But I don't know. I mean, cool, whatever. I guess if that was a normal date, you would do that. If it was normal life, you would do that probably. So whatever. I don't think they banged.
No, and you can actually see the way there is a tent cam. So it's not like an actual fantasy suite where they're alone. So technically, yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to show us footage of them cuddling during the night or anything. But I think it's like kind of a known thing, like, hey, you are on camera. Even though other reality shows, people bang on camera all the time, or even Bachelor in Paradise in the boom boom room, right? But the one thing, and then when you look at the tent cam, you see 2 small beds separated. But did you hear what Katie said when they went into the tent?
Let's scoot them together.
Yep. So maybe I don't think anything happened, but they were definitely some cuddling. And so she goes home the next morning. All the girls are already up and they're like, where the fuck is Katie? Yeah. And she comes in her pajamas, like all disheveled with her rose. And the girls freaked out.
Yeah. All these girls, though, are like super supportive and loving towards each other.
Like, no, when Katie walked down with her dress when she was getting ready for her one-on-one date, she had like a full-on fan club. It was amazing. It actually like warmed my heart. Like I want to see more of that. Bachelor, please. Like it was before all hell broke loose later on in the episode. I absolutely love that. Another thing I wanted to say is like already she's coming home next morning and they were asking her questions and she's like, "Oh yeah, I didn't get any sleep." And they're like, "Oh, no sleep." So that was a little alluding to something, right?
I know,
like well, I guess they could have just like talked all night, but I mean,
or like being nervous and not sleeping very good because it's like the first time and you're on camera and it's just weird. That could be it too.
Yeah, I definitely feel like she is leaps and bounds now ahead of all the other girls at the moment.
For sure.
But I think it is going to be a blessing and a curse because I think Katie's going to have a real hard time the rest of the season watching him with all the other ladies.
100%. I think her past is going to play a part in that too. That would just be hard because she wants to feel safe, but sorry, this isn't really a safe environment for like your
No.
feelings until you're done.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
And then we had the group date, the Bachelor Bowl was brought back. What do you think of those episodes when like the football?
I just think it's a recipe for disaster. I personally don't like any of the physical contact fighting dates. I just think they're dumb. That's just my
I
opinion, though.
kind
I
of like
mean,
them, and it's not like I'm a sports person, but there's something about it that just like I just love the like. Could someone die? Maybe. You know, like I like.
within the within the first like 2 seconds of the game, someone's already hurt.
Yeah, but was she? It was Anastasia. She falls down, and then in a second she's giggling, and she gets to spend time with Zach. So
That's true.
strategy. What else? Okay,
Gabby Peter Pants.
Gabby Peter Pants. That's the I love her so much. She's my number one right now. I don't know where you're at. I know this wasn't a big Gabby episode, but she's my absolute favorite. Are you still on board for that, or do you have a new
I'm
favorite?
still on board with her.
Do you have a number one?
No, I think it's anybody's game for me and for Zach. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
You guys can still win Amy over if you guys Bachelor Nation's listening. But what I wanted to talk about was the team names.
Balzacs, are you kidding me?
And then they were the blue team. Blue Balzacs. Oh, I loved it. I loved every second of it. And then so the blue team won.
Did they name hold on, actually, did the girls choose the names, or was it just
clue
already? I kind of don't know, because that makes it better.
I know, right? Well, they won. The blue team won with their name, and they won to the night portion. All the other girls had to go home, and that's when things really took a turn in the episode. Let's talk about Bailey.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
Shocked.
At all.
Shocked. But
I wonder if she wouldn't have gone into the conversation that way and would have tried to like do something that would grow. But I guess maybe they were just both forcing it. I don't know.
Yeah, it seemed like so she went to talk to him. She said that she feels like their relationship has regressed. And I think she was looking to him for like validation. And Zach was like, yeah, I agree. Like he's such a straight shooter, and that's the most attractive thing about him, Amy. Like I start to get flustered when he just tells the girls exactly what he thinks. Like it's kind of hot. Anyways, but then they get interrupted, and I feel like those are the times when like you should actually be like, hey, sorry, can we have a few more minutes? Or like the lead actually take control, because she's not gonna do it because that's not her place. I think that's the one he's almost perfect, but he can't do everything right.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. When that conversation got interrupted, when it was really in a point that basically seemed like he was almost sending her home, in my opinion, then I was like, wait, why is he letting this happen?
I know.
I mean, I think maybe he was flustered too. He wasn't sure exactly. I don't know.
Yeah, because she was being a straight shooter too. She would just kind of like, what's up? And so she ends up grabbing him later on in the night, but trying like to kind of twist the narrative a little bit and just being like, hey, like, I do think that we could get there. We just need to spend more time together. And Zach's like, no, bye.
Yeah. Bummer.
So really surprising. She was a front runner.
I agree, and I also think all of our predictions are tunneling down the toilet.
I know.
Except for one.
Yes,
except for one.
That's true.
Charity.
Yes.
Charity. And I actually said in this date, I felt like she was the standout, and then she got the rose.
She did, as she should. 100%. I love Charity. Yeah, I mean, nothing. Like, she just has a presence about her, and I definitely think Zach feels the same way we do. Like, we're all in love with Charity. It's her world, and we're just living in it. And pretty much. And then so when Charity got the rose, this is where like we've been a big stan for Christina. And from this point, we haven't seen anything that's like made us think any differently. And this is where it took a turn for me. What about you?
Oh, for sure. This whole group date, she was just making comments like, well, I've been on a one-on-one and this and this and this, and was just really rubbing the girls the wrong way. And I get maybe like out of nervousness or not knowing what to say or just trying to be a part of the conversation. But I mean, she was not reading the room at all. And she just like kept saying stuff. It was weird too, though, because it's like she wasn't, the way she was speaking was not in any way like aggressive or anything. It was almost like she was just talking. But then Charity got the rose and she's just like, I'm just confused. Like, why didn't I get it? I'm like, was she drunk? I think she was drunk.
It crossed my mind because it just seemed so out of character for her. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she really has, in my opinion, been very classy this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's a little out there with her personality, and there's nothing wrong with that, and so relatable.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
once she made Charity cry, that's when I was like, oh, she fucked up. Like,
yeah, she just like wouldn't shut up. She just kept talking, but she was also downing her glasses of her drink. Well, I mean, I don't know.
That's the only explanation I could think of because it was just such a switch. And then
but it also makes me not want her to be the Bachelorette. I hope she's not.
Yeah, I think that ship has sailed, but she's 100% going to be on Bachelor in Paradise.
Ooh, that's true. Okay.
But one thing I did like also was Brooklyn kind of stood out to me in the group date as well. What's your thoughts on Brooklyn and how she handled the Christina situation? She was like really the only one who called her out. And honestly, for making Charity cry, she was like defending Charity. And I personally thought that Christina needed to be called out. And she did it in a good way. I don't think she was like necessarily overly mean or aggressive. I think she just called it like it was.
No, I think Brooklyn did a really good job, and I think that Catherine did a good job too. I think both of them actually kind of just was like, girl, like you keep saying one-on-one date, like you're bothering everybody here. That's hurting our feelings. Stop. Yeah. And I think if at that point Christina would have listened and like taken that in and just kind of shut up, that would have been fine. But she just kept going and going and going. And so then Catherine said something too, like, this is not the place for this conversation. Like, stop talking, basically.
Yeah.
But like Christina's whole demeanor was honestly just confusing. It was very odd. It was very odd.
Very, very. And like, I want to kind of go, blah, blah. I kind of like think, I never try to go into conspiracy theories or stuff like producer, blah, blah, blah. But like, they were all real chummy before Christina started doing her spiral. I feel like they were just like, dude,
were they handing her the drink?
You're a content creator. You want to have your moment on TV. We need some drama. Do this. There's a very big possibility that happened, but we'll never know. Or will we?
Well, and really, I'm sorry, producers, but know your lead. That's all I've got to say, because if they keep doing this, it ain't gonna work.
Yeah, because I know we'll go more into Christina later. So they leave the date. Zach doesn't know anything happened, but the girls are pissed. And then we've got a one-on-one date with Allie. What do you think of Allie?
I like her. I enjoyed the day. At first, okay, so she gets a wedding gown delivered to the place, and I'm just like, oh great, another one of those where it's like a one-on-one date and they're basically having a wedding or a photo shoot. I hate those for a first date, especially. I just think it's awkward and weird. Anyways, so I was not looking forward to it at all. But then it ended up being them jumping out of a airplane, and I liked her. I wouldn't say I have like a strong, she didn't super stand out, but I enjoyed their date. And I feel like she was really vulnerable, really telling Zach that like she puts on kind of like a front of being happy all the time, or being a certain way, and she got really vulnerable with him, and I feel like his response was just so Zach. I just love it.
Zacky poo, as Gabby would say. For sure. Actually, I think my favorite Allie moment wasn't even on the date. It was when twice, at 2 different times of the episode, someone knocks at the door for the group date, and she literally like does this like crazy face and like does like this every single time. Did you notice that?
No.
Oh my God, it was so funny. Okay, you missed out. And then also, I was so confused how they were like just treating like jumping out of an airplane like another Tuesday. Like they didn't seem scared at all. First of all, I would just tell them no. Like, I don't know, would you ever go skydiving?
No, every single date on this show so far has been my worst nightmare.
Even the museum?
Literally.
Oh, I guess it's kind of creepy at night and like
No, okay.
empty.
No, the museum was fine, but
Okay.
football, no.
Yeah.
Um, cat walking sexy like, no. Jumping out of airplane, hell no. So,
Agreed.
no.
Agreed. One thing also I thought was notable is at the end night portion, they have a music performance and dance, and it was Griffin Palmer. That last name sounds
I,
familiar, doesn't it?
oh, is it Jesse Palmer's like
Nephew.
son? Oh, because I'm like, who the heck is this
People
guy?
are calling him like a Nepo, like a Nepo baby.
Nepo.
Nepo, yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. I said it wrong. They're like, oh, Nepo baby, a bachelor, and now he gets on the show or whatever. I thought it was kind of funny.
That is funny.
Then we don't get a cocktail party, but a pool party, which those are like my favorite. Okay, the pool party starts off with Gabby rubbing down some Zach snacks.
I love that it was just fun.
I loved it.
I mean, yes, it kind of goes a different direction.
Goes
But let's talk about the fun first, because I don't know if it's just the season or what, but I just really feel like these girls are just like enjoying each other and they're having fun. The big standout for me was Ariel.
Same.
She is so fun. Her personality is like sarcastic and goofy, but like I just like totally, it's almost like an awkwardness, but it's like a flirtation awkwardness that like totally works.
Totally
I love it.
Yes, their steamy makeout sesh and like the flirting. I loved every second of it. And I think Zach does too. And I also think he liked her swimsuit. He's like, and I don't, doesn't she make a comment? She was like, even though he's not looking at my eyes.
Yeah.
I guess another, and then that's kind of when Brianna, that was my standout too. So we're totally on the same page. And then Brianna goes to talk to Zach and immediately is like, well, I had a hard time because, and I was like, yelling at the TV. I was like, Brianna, he just said he wants to have at least just one fun conversation. One. And this is like the fourth or fifth where you're like coming to him like all like not fun.
Yeah, I'm glad she just sent herself home, which he would have sent her. I didn't even honestly understand why she was still there after the last cocktail party when he basically was like, we don't have fun. So I'm like, why? You're just hoping that magically happens, but then you send Bailey home. Like it didn't pan out. Maybe they were just trying. I don't know.
Yeah. To me, I thought it was like actually made me like Brianna more that she sent herself home, because I thought it was just really, she's like a real one for that. If someone wasn't there for the right reasons, they would have stayed as long as Zach would have let them. So I love that she kind of took control of that. And I kind of love a messy queen that she like just like dropped a bomb and then left and everyone else had to figure out the pieces. I loved it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so she basically called out Christina and was like, she's rubbing a lot of the girls the wrong ways, made me cry multiple times, made Charity cry.
Yeah, I did a quote really quick. Intimidation with this. She was saying that there was some intimidation with this person before she said. And I like, there was some fighting words.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So then that left a mess for Zach to figure out. Zach, another check mark for you, buddy. Here we go. So he goes right to the group of girls, basically says how he feels, and then says, Christina, let's talk. Goes over to Christina, and
yeah, what did you think?
It was very interesting to me that she kept saying, it'd be such a bummer if you didn't believe me. Like,
that was
okay.
Funny.
She was very convincing, to be honest. For any other Bachelor, I think it would have worked.
Oh, wait,
she was just basically like, I don't know why they're saying this. I, please believe me. And that it never was out of malicious intent. I think she said something similar to that.
I believe that.
Yeah, I do too. I don't think she's a bad person.
Not at all.
I think,
she had a bad moment and got kind of caught up and stuff, I think.
Yeah, or was being led to do that.
Or
yeah. Zach literally was like, I can't have drama. like he just straight up was like, I can't have this. Can't have drama.
It was
Like
so
he
hot.
said
My
that to her.
vagina is doing a little tingle right now just remembering it. Like, I just think he's just no nonsense. His deal breaker is drama, and I think we're gonna see
Mhm.
that play out throughout the season.
Yeah, I'm just a little worried as the time goes on, though, that he might let some girls go that maybe he shouldn't because, like, he also, well, it depends. It depends on how they go about it. So, like, yeah, no catty fighting for sure. But, like, he also has to realize this is such a high emotions thing that
Yeah.
you can be a great person and still get caught up or be upset or be sad. So I just hope that he can handle the big emotions too. And it's not just like, I can't handle drama. But it seems like he can so far because even these girls that have been vulnerable, have been saying things that are hard, he is still responding well to that. So I'm just a little nervous for that though,
Yeah,
as the time
that's
goes on.
true. Some people on Twitter, there's some rumblings that Zach took this as an out because he was not ready to be a dad.
Yeah, and I could see that too. I think that might have been, I wouldn't necessarily say that as a bad thing, but it was like I'm already not 100% sure.
Yeah.
So now that this has happened, I'm that's just like the straw that broke the camel's back type
Yeah.
thing, even though that necessarily shouldn't be. I don't, but like, why not?
Yeah, I thought
If
it was I think it's
I
an
don't know.
interesting take. I think it's probably a little
Yeah,
combination of everything.
yeah.
But I mean, you could
I think that if he would have been like 100% with her because they had a one-on-one and like there wasn't the child involved, as sad as that is to say, I think maybe she could have stayed.
yeah.
But I think that that was just the additional. It's like, I'm not going to put more energy and make these, if these other girls that I am like feeling very sure about and you're hurting them, no. Because I think he likes Charity a lot. And if he made, I think he respects Charity too. So for the fact that Christina made Charity cry, he's like,
I 100% agree with everything you said.
mhm,
Spot on.
yeah,
Then okay, well, they cut the pool party short, and then they showed Christina in various locations crying
crying.
on the
Mhm.
stairs, on in the middle. It was very like artistic. Like she was like on the ground, and there was like columns behind her. It could have been like a Renaissance painting.
Mhm.
It was intense. Well, then all the girls walking past. Did you see that part? Like all the girls, like she was just crawled up in a little ball, and everyone. But thankfully, like I think Anastasia ended up waiting for. I think she had some friends who, like, figured, didn't take her
Yeah.
too seriously because it's just like so Christina type thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, totally. And like you said, she's not a bad person. So I think
No.
like she definitely had friends there. And with how supportive and loving these girls are, I think probably if anybody was really hurt, I think that they would get support.
I can see her not only going a Bachelor in Paradise, but being like one at the end where she gets engaged. Like I could see her having a full love story. We see still. So we go to
I'd be down.
right. So we go to the rose ceremony. I wanted to take a moment on Jess's dress. I think we just need a moment of silence because it was so beautiful.
Literally, that was the only fashion I wrote down.
Really?
The chains and the back, it was so
Gorgeous.
cute.
Yes. And if you guys want
Mhm.
my full fashion recap, it's either every Tuesday or Wednesday, kind of varies on depending on my schedule. I do a fashion recap for The Bachelor. I haven't done it yet. I'm going to post it probably in the morning. But it'll be out by the time you guys see this. So check it out. Our TikTok at
Mhm.
Stop Wearing My Clothes. And then like Ariel, did you notice what she said when he asked? He was like, "Will you accept this rose?"
Yeah, wait,
She
remind me
did a
though, but I
little
do remember.
like eyelash flirt thing. She's like, "I'll think about it." What a move! She's so cool.
No, I literally think that they have such an amazing flirtation going on
I
right now.
love
Like
it.
when they have if they get a one-on-one, I think it might be over.
Whew, I agree. Like
Yeah.
you need that spice. You need that like giddy feeling in the beginning, and then that you can kind of grow on top of that. You know.
Yeah, and she's an interesting personality too. Like she's very I don't even know what the
I
word
think a
is,
dry
but
sense of humor.
yeah, I like it.
I do too. And before we get into who went home, he calls Genevieve's because it's not Genevieve, it's Genevieve, which I had to go back and forth to that.
Oh,
Yeah, so just so you know,
okay.
I've never heard that name before. But he calls her
Mhm.
name, and you see that she's in a sling. Why
I
is no
think it
one
must have been
talking about this?
I don't know. It must have been something to do with that football game.
But it's so funny that like they do a whole thing with like the ambulance for the football game with Anastasia, who was totally fine, and then all of a sudden this girl shows up with a sling. Well, hopefully she's okay. Um, and then throughout the rose ceremony, Christina and her facial expressions, she actually ended up turning into a little bit of a meme queen herself.
Yeah, she always has tried to do that little sex kitten lip pout like thing always.
Yeah.
But that was on high. And then she's like, fudge.
I'm sorry. I really
I
like
do.
her. And then she did not get the rose. But I thought even like as she walked out, super classy.
Yeah, but honestly, I think all this season shocks me because it's like every other season you're like, oh, I know she's gonna stay. Oh, I know she like
It's
when there's drama,
surprising
they
us.
stay.
I love it.
Yeah.
Bachelor's doing something right.
I'm finally like, oh my gosh, is it Zach? I think it is
So
Zach
too.
because he seems really smart, emotionally intelligent, and just like is reading the situation clearly when most guys just read the boobs or something.
I think he's just less likely to get manipulated by women and the
Mhm.
producers.
Yeah.
And he's just doing this for himself. Like, I love it. And it's definitely, we have 3 women who went home. All 3 were front runners. All 3 were met him on the live show. And it kind
Do you think that had anything to do with it?
I think maybe because I was trying to think. Me and Zachary Reality were talking on Shared News because I am gonna kind of copy what I said there. That like when you're like, I haven't dated in a really long time, but like even in like high school and stuff, like when you text someone you like for too long before hanging out with them, you like create this narrative or this person in your head, and then when you meet them and it doesn't fit, it's maybe quicker to fall through. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. That's why I literally would never want to text. Sometimes I even wouldn't want to text like between a first date and the next date because it's like I want to know the you in real life.
For sure.
But that aside, yes, I think that and like he kissed Bailey the first night. I mean, I think he just had a lot of high expectations more than he did with the other girls.
Yeah.
The other girls came in and it was like, okay, this is you. Like, I actually like you. Let's continue moving on. When the other girls, even like Brianna might have even had higher expectations of him having the rose. Like, I just think that it almost set them up for failure a little bit.
I agree. And honestly, I hope they don't do it again. I'm not a huge fan of meeting on the live shows. Like,
I don't like it.
Doesn't
I
do
think it's
anything
awkward
for me.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, because also, like, when you do that, the getting out of the limo part, that's the worst part for the girl, or the guy, like whoever's getting out, like that's anxiety ridden. So then once you have that first conversation after that, then that's where it's like, okay, this is actually legit.
Yeah.
So doing that ahead of time and then making that just kind of like stay, I don't think is helpful.
I agree. So it was a shocking episode, and Bachelor and Zach just keep on bringing it. And then we did see a sneak peek. What did you think? Anything stand out to you?
Who in the heck is going to be the person there for social media?
I don't like this isn't a spoiler. This is just so Kayla Thompson on Shared News. I actually just did a panel with her earlier. She is amazing at like getting the detective glass on and like looking at all the sneak previews for the season at the end of every episode. And she 100% called it, like with certainty, knowing the outfits and like doing the whole thing. So I actually think I know almost with certainty who it is. Do you want me to say?
Should we? It's not like an actual spoiler.
She just, we're thinking it's Anastasia.
Okay, that's actually the only person that was in my head too, just because of the preview of him saying like, I don't believe you, or I don't believe
I think
whatever.
It's the same night, but it's just 2 different teasers. One villain leaves, another one gets created. Right? And then they're going to the Bahamas, and then I could tell from the sneak preview the 2 one-on-ones. So we're gonna see Brooklyn have a one-on-one. And we're going to see Catherine, which I'm specifically really excited about. I'm excited for her to see more about her and see if that's going to connect with her and Zach. Because I'm also kind of excited. Not that I think this is going to happen with either of them. Like the first time Zach is not going to give out a rose on a one-on-one just because he feels like he should or something.
Mm-mm.
So it's going to be
Mhm.
interesting that first one-on-one where he's like, nah, does his Zach
Yeah.
decision making.
Yeah, so this is my feelings. Brooklyn, I'm surprised she's getting a one-on-one. For some reason, I thought she was going to be one that left. I don't know why. I just thought that she would be one that just kind of maybe like stayed with the group dates, kept enough attention, but then just didn't get the one-on-one. But now I'm scared that might be Gabby. That maybe like it'll be too long. Well, though she's seen on a boat. That's got to be a one-on-one.
Yeah,
Anyways,
that is a one-on-one. But just not next week.
Yeah, I am so excited for Catherine. She gives me such good vibes.
Same.
I just really,
to be honest,
like
as much
her.
as Zach and Katie seem to like each other, Katie's just really boring to me. I already feel more connected to Catherine than I do with Katie, who we've had more screen time with.
Kat is going to bring some more like silly, fun energy.
Catherine.
While still being serious. Yeah, okay, yeah, but he calls her Kat.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I just because there was another cat, I wasn't sure if you were mixing it up.
So this is funny because the first episode, he accidentally called Catherine Kat, like in the talking, and he said, Kat, I like Catherine. And then once Kat left, he's called Catherine.
I did not connect that. I did not see that. Good catch. Good catch. And so then we had a bonus clip, which are usually my favorites, and they're talking about the ick.
Have you heard that before?
A little bit, yeah. So they're basically saying of like, within like the first time you hang out with someone and something happens that immediately gives you the ick that you can no longer see them. Like what like has that happened to you, or like what would be your ick?
Bad breath.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I mean, but I like that they say. So let's say so I'm just going to use Jared, my husband, as an example. So if I hung out with Jared the first time, great smell and breath. Hung out the second time, great smell and breath. Now we're in love, and then his breath stinks. That's okay.
That has to happen towards the beginning.
It's like, yeah, because it's like I don't love you enough for that to be okay.
Gotcha. I would say too much tongue. I don't know if you're already kissing within that first hangout. I probably would. I'd be probably a little bit of a whore if I was single. A kissing whore. Anyways, moving on. That's the end of our recap. We're so excited for next week, and we're so excited for next week. We have new episodes every Wednesday, and it's our 50th episode today. I know we said that in the intro, but I just wanted to hammer it home because it's a big number. I'm really proud of it, and I'm proud of what we've done with this podcast so far. Amy, what's your favorite thing about doing this podcast?
I think just getting to chit chat with you. I think it's really fun. When you watch a show like The Bachelor, like you have so many thoughts and feelings and you're just like, I want to talk about it. And so I think it's really cool that we get to talk to each other and then share it with everybody else too.
Same. I always say when like people ask about podcasts, what's it like? It's like what me and my sister would have a FaceTime call, but we just like record it for everybody else.
Yes.
So I have the best time. And if you like us too, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit on that little bell for notifications on YouTube. Or if you like to listen instead of watch, don't do that. There's no like. Rate and review on Apple Podcasts, or just rate on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Also, you are welcome to email us at stopwearingmyclothespodcast@gmail.com with your thoughts, anything that you want to say. We're happy to read it. And also follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. So TikTok and Instagram is Stop Wearing My Clothes Pod, and Twitter is Stop Wearing My, because
it keeps the mystery alive.
There you go.
Till next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.